All right, so good evening, everyone. I welcome you once again to tonight's edition of Through It All We Call Everybody. Like you all have always known, Through It All is all about encouragement. It's all about using the stories of our lives and the things God has done for us to encourage others, to lift others up. And we've done this for, it's going to close to 2 years now. And I'm so happy that we are here again tonight through it all. So, how has been our week? Um, so, I welcome you to the month of September. This month is going to favor us. We are getting gradually to the end of the year. So, be ready to tell God that it should give you some last minute miracles in your life. God should do some things that you know that whatever you've been asking Him to do from the start of the year and it has not happened till now, you need to hold on to God like Bartimaeus and cry to Him and say, Son of David, have mercy on me. And the Lord is going to meet you at the point of your need in the name of the Lord Jesus. So, Through It All, the name was derived from my book, Through It All. And I wrote the book. It's all about my trials and how the Lord showed up for me. And I triumphed in all the trials, in most of them. There's some of the trials that I'm still living with. All right. So, I welcome you specially to tonight's edition, and I am trusting God that you will be blessed by it. My guest tonight is somebody I'd always admired all my life growing up. I'd always watched him on TV. Um, those days when he's casting the news on NTA, 9 o'clock network news. The way he does it, the way he dresses, the agbada and everything. He has always been somebody I'd always admired from afar. And God brought me so close to him at a point. And interestingly, he has a program that he runs on one of our TVs here in Lagos. And I've had the grace of being one of his guests in one of the editions. So the table is turning this night. My host is now going to be my guest, and I'm going to be the host. So, with all the joy that God has put in my heart, I want to welcome to the screen my guest for today. I call him Uncle Dr. SEGUN ADERIYE. Uncle is an ace broadcaster. He has been a journalist all his life. And so he's going to be telling us his journey through life, all this while that the Lord has been faithful unto him. And I'm so glad, even the day I got to know that he's not just a broadcaster, he's not just a doctor, but he's also a man of God. All right. So for some that always seen Uncle as a journalist, I'm inviting to your screen today a man of many parts, a man that also does a lot of things. So Uncle will be talking to us today. I'm so happy to have him on Through It All today. So Uncle, welcome to Through It All.
Thank you very much, my dear brother, Kola Olubodi. Thank you very much indeed. I must say you are doing so well on this program. I've monitored you all the while, and I'm very proud of the program and of you in particular.
Thank you, Uncle. It's really been a privilege knowing you in the few years that I've known you, and you've always been a source of inspiration to some of us. Um, the truth of the matter at times, I mean, is the truth. The truth of the matter is that when I started through it all and I started sitting in front of the camera, there are two of you that I always remember. You and Adesua Yenokwe, the way you handle your programs and everything. So when I sit here, I have your picture. I say, okay, this is the way Uncle Shegun used to handle it. And then the free way that Adesua used to do it. So, so thank you for teaching me well. All right. Um, there was a day I was watching a program on the TV. It was a program sponsored by Milo Beverage, and the host of the program happened to be Segun Odegbami, you know. So then there was a session when there was a phone in, and a young boy phoned in, and Segun Odegbami asked him, he said, do you know me? The boy said, yes, I know you. You are the host of Milo. Milo something something. I've forgotten the program, and I laughed. I said the boy is so young. He only knows Segun Odegbami as host of Milo games, but we know Segun Odegbami as mathematical Segun Odegbami. So what I'm saying in essence is that we are in the generation of the pharaohs that don't know that don't know Joseph. So, Uncle, there are many new generations out there. The old generation that always admired you on NTA network news would know you. But there are a lot of young guys out there. And so I want you to introduce yourself to the audience. Who is Segun ADERIYE?
Kola, you've done most of this job. Proximity, produces this kind of thing. When you are very close to somebody, you know so much about him. And when you now ask him to introduce himself, you begin to wonder what else he wants to say. My dear brother, you know the name already. By the grace of God, I hail from Ifaki, Ekiti. That's one city in the state of Ekiti, Nigeria. My father of blessed memory, Chief S.B. ADERIYE, was a high chief before he finally departed. But he was a professional teacher. He made his mark. And I think he got to the zenith of his profession then as an education supervisor. That was the height of it. It was in the Oyo circuit then. In fact, we're based in Oyo, and we lived at the palace of the late Ladibolu, the Alaafin of Oyo. Yes, we were rated so high. My father was rated so high that they had to give us accommodation within the palace. Wow. That's where we grew up as babies, as toddlers. Then, of course, Papa finished, and we had to move back home to the village. We're talking about 60, 61, 62. So I continued my childhood at the village, and we all looked like, three of us, we all looked like Oyibo children. Because my father had the money, he was well-to-do, he could take very good care of us. So we looked a shade higher, than the rest of the children in the village. and they would act like Unyibo children. That was the beginning. That's just by the way. Coming to myself, I managed to enter into the secondary school, Ifaki Grammar School. That's the name of the school. And I went through some difficulties because, you know, when you have a retiree father and little or nothing to do to bring in money, he didn't amass wealth like we now hear these days. So you could see a change of fortunes, you call it, so to say. The money was not all that there any longer. And of course, I had to go to school because they saw a very bright future in me. They saw my intellectual capacity. And so I had to push through. It wasn't easy, I must tell you. I just had to push through. You could say I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but as things turned out, I think that silver spoon got a little bit removed, and I was my own. So I faced up to it, and to God be the glory today. After my secondary school education, had a very, very good grade. I was one of the best students of the time. Then the very first thing I did, you know, my father being a retired teacher, head teacher for that matter. I must even tell you, my mother is also a head mistress.
Wow.
She was head mistress until she retired some several years back, back. Now, when I finished, that was 73. Yes, 1973, I finished secondary school. The very first job I got was a teaching job. You know, teacher Oko, they called it then. village teacher Oko. That was the very first job I got. I did about 8 months. Yes, I did about 8 months. Then, of course, there was this advertisement in the newspapers by the then Western Nigeria Television, WNTV, WMBS, Western Nigeria Television, then Western Nigeria Broadcasting Service, both radio and TV combined. The advertisement came in the newspapers. I was interested, and I gave it a shot. And lo and behold, I was taken in. And that was how my journey in broadcasting began, 1973 August. I must give credit to God for that, but also I must say a big appreciation to my father, my mentor, professional mentor, Chief Ogunlade, the former Federal Minister of Information. I hope you remember him. He was the one God used. You were very young then, yes. He was the one that God used to pull me around. He made sure I became a member of staff. Not the way they do it these days. Everybody come inside. Whether you are qualified, whether you know what you are supposed to go in there and do, just go in there. You know the way they do it these days. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that in our time. That I can say. And it happened to me directly because we had to go through some tests. It was TEDRO in Lagos that organized it. We had to move all the way from Ibadan to Lagos to write that test. It was an aptitude test. And I passed excellently well. In fact, my result was one of the best. So with that encouragement on the side of Chief Ogunlade, he pushed my papers, and at the end of the day, I got in there as a staff, as a programs officer. very, very junior. I think, what was the salary then? It was 48 naira or something. So I got in there as a program assistant. Then the miracle of my professional life started. I was walking on the corridor of the building, the studio building, and I came across who I later recognized as the director of news at the time. I was in programs department. He was the director of news. And he accosted me and he said, "Mr. Man, I see a journalist in you." I don't know whether the guy was a prophet or something. You know, what I knew of him later, I didn't show he was anything near church matters, not to talk of being a prophet. But he said, "Mr. Man, I can see a journalist in you. Will you be interested to cross over to the news department?" Oh, I mean, imagine how I would feel. I said, "Let me." In fact, he didn't let me ramble further. He just said, "You think about it and get back to me." That was a big relief for me. So I went, slept over it. What is this news of a thing? I didn't see myself as such. But here was the man who I later found out to be the head, the man in charge of the news department, asking me over
What was his name or is his name?
on a platter of gold. So I said, my best bet would be to give this thing a shot. Just with a stroke of the pen, I became a news reporter, cub reporter. That was the start of the journey.
Sorry,
So I was
what's
around
the name
years
of
after I got in
the
there.
hello uncle?
Yes, can I hear you?
What's the name of the person that introduced you into news?
Can I remember the name now? You will excuse me, some of these names, they keep slipping my memory. I will
Because
tell you later.
I remember
I'm
people
sure I will
like
remember.
Inkena, Indaguba, and all those people then.
No, Ndaguba, those ones were the headquarters in Lagos.
Oh,
I'm talking
okay.
of Ibadan.
Oh, okay.
WNT,
Okay,
based
you
in
were
Ibadan.
okay. WNBC. Okay, okay.
WNTV,
NTV.
WNBS.
Yeah, yeah.
That was based in Ibadan then.
Oh, okay.
Well, I didn't know anything about the headquarters. I didn't know the people were there. Me, I was just a local champion, if you like. so,
Okay.
so that was how I got to the news. Yes, Mr. Kunle Adeleke is still
Okay.
alive. He's still living in Ibadan. Mr. Kunle Adeleke is now a chief.
Okay.
That was his name. So I started growing through the ranks. I started going through the system. And before you knew it, I became what I became, such that my light began to shine so much that it radiated to the headquarters. Because there was one program that was created then, whereby people in different regions of the country will put news stories together and send to the headquarters for transmission on the network news. Happened to have anchored that of NTA Ibadan over time. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know my worth. But lo and behold, people were watching. People were watching. I didn't know. So in 1985, yes, 1985, December, we were just preparing for Christmas. That would be around 16, 17, 18th of December. You know, Christmas around the corner. Everybody will be running around looking for chicken for the family, looking for rice, and all that. And that was the mood I was when this call came from the Den Dodden Barracks. I'm talking of 1985 now. And I'm trying to tell you how I became the chief State House correspondent of the NTA.
Hmm.
I was actually moved from Ibadan by, call it providence, call it the miracle of God. You know why? I didn't know nobody at the headquarters. You know, I told you I was kind of local champion. I didn't know who were at the headquarters. I didn't know who is who there or who was who there. Neither did I know anybody at the seat of power of Nigeria then. Jordan Barracks, it was called then.
Wow.
General Ibrahim Babangida was then the president. Okay. This was where the invitation came for me to come over to Lagos.
Wow.
Me didn't know about this early enough. Until that time of the year, December was around the corner. I was also busy, you know, between my professional work and then family affair. You know, you have to look for food on the table to put on the table. So the call came through my ogas, and I was informed. So in the process of getting ready to go, I discovered that one of my professional colleagues were all there at Ibadan. His name, SEGUN Shoroye, very close, you know, names like that, you know, SEGUN ADERIYE, SEGUN Shoroye, very close. My ogas decided to send him to Lagos. Wow. Are you getting the story?
I'm with you, sir.
I was the one they requested for to come to Jordan Barracks then to be reporting the affairs of the presidency on NTA.
Wow.
But this, my other colleague, was the one that was sent. Whatever led to that decision, I wouldn't know. Even up to today, I don't know. I can only hazard a guess. Now, we did some sort of party, you know, for this fellow. Okay, oh, bye-bye. Send off for you. When you get there, don't forget us, you know, like the case of Joseph, who was in prison, and he was asking the prison leader, please don't forget me when you get to the powers that be, you know. So that was the way we bidded him farewell. And then I forgot about that story. Now, what happened next? Our friend got to Jordan Barracks, as the stories had it. He was rejected.
Wow.
He was not the one they asked for. And they wrote another letter back to my bosses and said, you guys, I hope you are not playing with your job. Told you specifically the person we wanted or that we want. Now you send us somebody else. That person is not the person we want. They mentioned my name again in that letter, which was passed across. Of course, and that became something else. I think it dawned on my ogas that this is not a joking matter. Wow. I better don't lose my job over this matter. That was how I found my way to Jordan Barracks, the then seat of power in Nigeria. Wow. I did not know anybody. I did not have to bribe anybody. I did not have to plead even with my bosses. You understand? And even when this other colleague, in fact, it's of blessed memory now, SEGUN Shoroye, when he was finally picked, I no hard feelings. I was at the send-off party, you know, which bidded him goodbye, you know, for that assignment. But as God will have it, see what happened. In fact, when I finally landed at Jordan Barracks, I remember it was a Monday morning. I got there weekend, and by Monday morning, I was there by 8 o'clock. They say, yes, that's the guy. They welcomed me with open arms, so warmly. And within 5 minutes, my ID card was ready.
Wow.
That was how I became the chief state house correspondent of the Nigerian Television Authority. And I was running that show for about 4 years or so before I got finally moved, because there was this, they kept rotating us so that we could have a feel of all the departments. So that at the end of the day, you are a solid professional. You know almost everything, every area of the job. So I go back to the NTA headquarters. I didn't return to Ibadan. Excuse me. I didn't return to Ibadan. I went back to the NTA headquarters. That was where I now became the foreign affairs correspondent.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I then became foreign affairs correspondent. And then from there, political desk, became politics, political correspondent. From there, blah, 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 and so on. I'll tell you many more stories. But before I go ahead, let me tell you something that later came to my understanding. The real reason why I was not fielded for that Dodambas job, the real reason I later understood was that my bosses just would not want to lose my services. Now, I
Oh,
don't want to start, one of Becky, and you don't want to start, drumming your own song, so to say. That was the reason I got to know why it wasn't me that was fielded. The other guy, Shegun Shuri, they didn't want to lose my services because they felt I was so indispensable because of my diligence, dedication, doggedness, and professionalism. These were the things that were said to me later. So that was that, and I think that was how the NTA story ended. There's another phase at Africa Independent Television. I don't know whether you want to put a question before I continue.
No. I love the way you're flowing with it. I
I should
love the
just
way you,
continue.
let's I want you to roll it on. If I can't
Okay.
even remember you worked at AIT.
Oh my God. In 1996, after spending 23 long years with NTA, starting from WNTV, in 1996, I got an invitation from Chief Raymond Aleogodokpesi, the founder of Dia Communications, AIT, and RAPA. He wanted me to join him in the establishment of that octopus called AIT. I slept over it. I thought and thought about it. But something came on me, which made it the deciding factor. You know what that was?
No, sir.
I like to be a pioneer of good things. Would like to be a pioneer of good things. That became the overriding factor that made me to join Chief Raymond Aleogodokpesi, for the establishment of the AIT arm communications. Of course, I got there. Today, you can see AIT is standing gidigba. And that gladdens my heart a lot, being a part of that pioneering effort that gave birth to that station. Any day, anytime, I'm proud of it. A lot of my friends were saying, hey, leaving certainty for certainty. All these private sector people, they just use you and dump you. They don't have any money, serious money to pay. And even if they pay you a while, after some time, they will start telling you stories. And even when you leave, There'll be no gratuity for you like a government job, where after paying you salaries over the years, when you finally leave, they will still give you your due. Gratuity, what's this other one? They say, oh, that will not be. All my
Pension.
friends rammed all this into my system. I was almost going to give up. But remember that overriding thought, that came. Why don't you be a pioneer of something that is good? To be in your record, it will go down in history. Today, nobody can write that off. Is there?
Exactly.
I'm one of the people God used to bring up that station. Hallelujah. Glory be to God.
Hallelujah.
So that was how I came in 1996. Play by play, little by little, we started the newsroom, we started the news department, and until finally, when it wasn't easy, like some of those my friends predicted, it got to a point that to get salaries was difficult. It was difficult. We had to go months without salaries. Even when the salaries were later paid in installments, you'll be told to forfeit certain months, maybe 2-3 months, forfeit some 2-3 months, and then they pay you the balance, and then maybe for the next, God knows how long, you can receive the next salary. We weathered all the storm. Things became better much later. I rose through the ranks there, so to say, to become the first general manager of the international wing or international arm of that station, AIT International. The very first general manager, AIT International. So in all, I did 10 years there. And part of my contributions was to go to New York. I was posted to New York, where an outfit of the AIT, the news department, was established. God used me to do that. And we're transmitting in that place to the entire world. I don't know whether you also saw, some of those clips.
I remember. I saw those. I
Watching
remember that time.
from New York, United States of America. And I did that for nearly a year. So I now came back to Nigeria to sort out a couple of things, family issues. Then there's some other things that I was proposing for that outfit, for that outpost in New York, which I thought I needed to sit down with the management to discuss. All right. So I came to Lagos, and then in the process of trying to work on those things, I got another call. These calls, they just keep coming. One thing about my life, which I've found out, is that I hardly lobby for anything. In fact, I don't do it. But what I discovered
that's
is
the grace of God.
God just does those things by himself. For instance, how do you explain the Northern Barracks issue? How? I didn't know anybody. Not even my bosses were lobbying for anything. So you can see the finger of God in my professional life all the way through. I didn't talk to Dr. Percy. I didn't send anybody to him. He wrote to me. He called me to his place, and we started discussions. He insisted at all costs that I must come and join him. Thank God I did join him. No regrets. Then I told you another letter came, not letter this time, it was a telephone call. I was shocked that day. I didn't even know who it was. And the fellow said quietly, I am Tunji Olurin. Tunji Olurin. He was then the sole administrator of Ekiti State. You remember when Fayoshe and the rest of them were sent packing? Chief of was then the president. he got a sole administrator, when the whole place was boiling. And General Tunji Oluri happened to be the one they put in there. He was the one that put that call through to me. I was shocked when he said, "Well, can I help you, sir?" No, he first of all asked, "Am I so person?" I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Who am I speaking with?" He said, "My name is Tunji Oluri." He didn't even put General. He wanted to have a talk with me. Anyway, he arranged a meeting. In fact, he put me on a flight to Abuja, where we met and discussed. What was it about? He wanted me by all means to come to Ekiti State, to come and help him revitalize and revamp the State Broadcasting Corporation, which according to him was lying comatose. He said, quoting him now, he said he has never seen a broadcasting house like that in his life. Total mess. The place was not running. Epileptic. They start in the evening. In 2 hours, they close down. Everything was upside that place.
Wow.
And he needed an effective media organization to help him, with his assignment then. To cut the long story short, how he got to know me, how he got my telephone number, let's leave all that to for another time, right? So I was brought in there and I became the first Director General of Ekiti State Broadcasting Corporation. That's how that story came up. If you see it in my CV, that is the secret story behind it. I didn't lobby for it. There was no interview. There was no calling for one CV somewhere. The man said, "Your CV is written all over the place. Everybody knows. By their works, we shall know them. Yeah, exactly. By their fruits, we shall know them." He said, "Everybody knows now." Because I was waiting, they will call me for an interview. There'll be some other people. That was how I became the very first. And in fact, all the things they gave me, I didn't ask for anything. Wow. But they gave me the most befitting things that you would expect for me to be given. In fact, they gave me that nomenclature, Director General. There was nothing like that in that state before then. There was nothing like that. Wow. They gave me that nomenclature in my letter by themselves, Director General. And that's how I became the first Director General of that organization. As soon as I left, they dropped it down. They started calling it General Manager, which they were used to anyway. So, can you see the glory of God? Wow. So this is what God can do for you when you rely on him completely. That's what he can do for you. He is your long leg. In fact, he has the longest leg. You don't need any long leg. Exactly. He has the longest leg. He has the best contact. He knows everybody to make things to happen for you. And I think this has been working for me all my life. Not before anything. I won't tell you another one that is also building up now. I won't tell you yet.
No. When it happens, we thank God.
The second edition will bring all that out. I don't know. In fact, I discovered that when I begin to talk to people, nothing comes out of it. I want this, you get me, that if nothing comes out of it. So I've decided or taught myself to keep my mouth shut and wait upon the Lord. You wait and see what he will do. And he always comes out with the very best. Hallelujah. At the end, we will sing hallelujah when it comes. Amen. That's the story of my life. That's the story of my life. Amen. Then the what do you call it? Ekiti State Broadcasting Corporation. For the 3.5 years or so I spent there, oh my God. Governor SEGUN, he came and met me on the ground. And of course, the people he came with, through the electioneering campaigns and so on, they will lobby to want to have this position, that position. They wanted to push me out and they wanted to come. And the man put down his foot and said, for somebody who's done so much, no, over my dead body, will you push this kind of a person out? Let him continue. That was how he stamped my continuance, my continuity as Director General of that place. And I was there till when he himself was pushed out by one court case, filed then by Dr. Fayemi. That was how everybody left the service. And of course, since then, I've been doing my consultancies. Wow. And this is the story.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, brother.
Wow. You know, obviously, one thing that has played out in your life is the grace of God.
Exactly.
The way God has favored you. You know, I tell people there's a way my life also is wired. Anytime I want to use any connection, it doesn't just work.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime I just say, God, that thing, I need your help. He raises men to make those things work for me.
Yes.
So I've seen those things play out in your life. So I want you to tell me, how did you meet God? Or how did God meet you?
That's an interesting one. Remember I told you I came from the village.
Yes, sir.
To take up the broadcasting job at Ibadan. All right. During one of those holidays, I will come from the village to Ibadan. Then there was this church, the Blood of Jesus Apostolic Church International. It had a branch in Oketunu, area of Mokola area of Ibadan.
Mm.
That was one place I had opportunity to attend. It was a choir anniversary. They had that particular year. And then I got the invitation. I said, let me just go because I love music. You know, I love. I later became a choir master in that church.
Wow.
For years. At the time I was working as junior broadcaster at WNTV Ibadan, I was also shuttling between the studio and the church.
The church.
Mm-hmm. This same church I'm telling you about, which I got invitation to attend one of its choir anniversaries. So at that anniversary, I saw people singing like angels. Hmm. The voices were coming, they were battering my brain, they were torturing my soul. And it was like I should just go and join them and become a singer right there. It was beautiful, beautiful rendition. The choir members, they were so well dressed. They were in their white and black. It was dazzling white. And I was, are these people angels? I never saw anything like that before. And you know one thing I did? I made, call it stupid commitment, statement, just nonchalantly like that, carelessly. I said, Lord, well, if by the time I finish my secondary education, don't forget I said I was in Ibadan at that time, just on holidays. I was saying, God, in my heart of heart, I didn't say it out to anybody for anybody to hear. Mm. If you allow me, Lord, to finish my secondary education, and for any reason I come to this city of Ibadan, I will join this choir. Wow. That was what I said at the bottom of my heart then. Nobody heard about it. See how God brought me to Ibadan using Chief Ogunlade to pull me around and then insist that I was employed. Not arbitrarily anywhere. I went through all the process. I was interviewed. I went to write a test. I did exceptionally well. And so that was all God's orchestration. That was his own way of doing his own thing, the way he wants to do it. He saw my heart. Whatever it is we purpose in our heart, God knows about it, and he has a way of bringing it to pass. Exactly. That was exactly what happened. I got to lay Ibadan not just as a visitor. I became Baba Ibadan of some sort. I spent 12 years at WNTV, WMBS before I got moved to Lagos, and I never went to Ibadan since then. Are you getting it? So
I understand.
that choir later became a choir that I mastered.
Wow.
I became the choir master of that same choir for years.
Wow.
Then in the process, God pulled me close, very, very close. By 1990, I became an ordained reverend gentleman. Before then, I became a deacon.
Wow.
I was combining that with my activities in the studio, in the fields. I won't tell you so many of those dangers I went through. Do you know I was one of the people they sent to Liberia from Nigeria as one of the reporters reporting the activities of the war right on the field. There
Wow.
was a day I was, in fact, I thought I was dead.
Wow.
That missile just flew a little bit above our head at the airport, Speak Spain Airport in Liberia. We were there on inspection. General Dogoyaro was then the leader of the ECOMOG then. I thought I was dead. You hear everybody thought that was the end of it. God saved us. And so many other, dangers that we faced. We were there for almost 4 or 5 months. With some of my other colleagues. We faced a whole lot of risks. We would have been dead. But God brought us back home alive.
Wow.
I reported Modaeke war. I mean, yes, I found myself in between their crossfires at the Modaeke there when I was still at WNTV, WMBS reporting. So many dangerous. In fact, it looked like any dangerous, what do you call it, beats. That's where my name will come up to go and cover. Maybe because they know I have one grace to go and come back.
The grace of God is sufficient for you.
Safely. Maybe they already knew I had that grace to go and come back with that report, safely. I don't know. So this is my story, brother. I can't finish it in one episode.
Wow. Maybe in my mind is trying to make you talk more about your being in Liberia with all these Samuel Doe and Yeltsin and all those people.
We were there when the guy was slaughtered.
Wow.
We were there. The Chastello boys, these were ragtag soldiers. They are not in uniform. I mean, they can just emerge from the bottom of nowhere and begin to shoot people. That was why we had to go in military camouflage as reporters. We were in military fatigue all throughout. Because, I mean, even ECOMOG soldiers, if you can't be properly identified, you could be taken for, if you are in Mufti, you could be taken for these Chancellor boys and you'll be shot. Before they know who you were gone. So we were in camouflage and we could be easily recognized as part of ECOMOG. It was some kind of safety valve. But on the other side, if you go to the enclave where all these killers, operated, you run a big risk because you are a ready target. You were a ready target in military fatigue. You were already a target, and they could kill you off. Don't ask me about my encounter with Yomi Johnson, Yeduo Johnson. He was a warlord. He was the one that was seeing Chastillo very squarely. That guy was deadly. Don't tell me how we escaped from his camp, to which he invited us by himself. Don't ask me what I saw. The people is shot at gunpoint in our very presence.
Wow.
And this was one guy that was mad. At a point, he was like, hey, you guys, what are you doing here? They drank all kinds of drugs and they could. He invited us to his camp. You know what was saved us one day? I don't know how that thing came on the scene. It was one little organ, piano, you know. And the guy, I understand, he loves music and so on and so forth. So the piano was there. There was nobody to play. Thank God, you know, I said I love music a lot. Yeah, I jumped on the piano. I started playing. This guy who was about to kill some people, he said they should go and line them up at the backyard for killing. Do you know by the time we finished the song we're doing then? Oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints, and I put hand on the keyboard. It was like the King Saul of old and David. Something just came over the man. He didn't kill those guys any.
Wow.
Even those who were afraid had come and that would be safe after all. Wow. You could see the power of music there, you know. So these are the stories and the wonderful stories of God. Wonderful stories.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yes.
We bless the Lord for everything.
Gone past 1 hour now.
Yes. All right. So maybe in rounding off, it seems as if journalism in your days, um, is there any difference you can see compared to how journalism is now? And what would be your advice to the journalists of this present age and then the upcoming ones?
You see, times and seasons, they come and go. And it's always a very difficult thing to start doing comparisons because what were available at a given time doesn't necessarily are not necessarily available at another time. In our time, in our days, there was no gadgets to make this kind of thing we are doing right now happen.
Exactly.
You have to carry your camera, get a driver, you have to get a vehicle, you have to fuel it, and you have to go through the risk on the road to get to your studio to do an interview of this nature. Today, look at this. Look at this. I don't have to leave the comfort of my home. You don't have to leave the comfort of your home, and yet a program is being produced. So you compare such, seasons and times. It's difficult. I would say the current breed of broadcasters, journalists, they are trying their best to. In fact, I would say they've surpassed what our achievement. They've surpassed it, not by their own strength, but by the power of technology.
Technology, yeah.
Oh, they could report faster. Immediacy. That was what radio was supposed to emphasize. Today, in fact, TV will beat it to radio, or will beat radio to it, so to say. These days, television will get the story to you first. How? They go through the streaming online. In our days, there was nothing like that. So it makes them, in a way, a little bit more efficient, all right? More efficient than we were in our days. And for those of them who are smart, in the area of technology, there's no comparison with most of us who are analog, even up to today. A lot of us are still analog journalists and professionals. I mean, some people cannot even connect the way we have connected this morning. You saw the way we had some issue and we quickly resolved it. If I'm not a step higher than our analog days, I would have happened.
Exactly.
But the professionals of these days, they do these things, with their fingers. Quick, it's done. So you can see the comparisons can be really very difficult. But when you talk in terms of commitment, dedication, and then the drive, oh, there's a world of difference. What we had, these guys don't have. Oh, they jump from place to place where the money is. I told you now how we're not being paid, and the job must go on. Even on a very bad day. I didn't tell you what happened. One of the coverages I did at Ife during the Modakeke crisis, my wife fell in labor.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
I simply managed to take her to UCH Ibadan, University Teaching College Hospital Ibadan. Then it was to be our first child in life. I just barely managed to drop her with the matrons, and I flew to Ife. Professional job, commitment. All right. Do you know, I came back from that assignment, landed at UCH to check with my wife. Okay, how is she? With baby, blah, 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 blah. Mama, blah, blah, blah. You know the story I was told? The baby had died.
Wow.
We lost our first issue in life.
Wow.
Let me tell you more. I had to just quietly leave my wife because she was even between life and death then. She probably didn't even recognize I was around. I had to go and file my report first. I left UCH, went to file that story before I got back to UCH again. Do we have that kind of dedication anymore to the job? These days, people fly from one place to another, they're looking for where the pay packet is fatter or fattest. And they tell you they can't cover the story, and the thing is too difficult to. That was not in
your days.
books. That something was not possible. No. Particularly me. There's nothing like that in my dictionary. Not possible. A report is not possible to be filed. What was it? I will get to the bottom of it, and I will put in everything, including my life. Dedication.
Wow.
Can we find it again? Can we find that kind of dedication? It's all gone. It's all about money. Money. Yeah, money is good, but hey, there's a limit to which you can begin to look for money beyond or over and above every other thing that are necessary. So these are some of the things I said make it really very difficult to do these comparisons of a thing. But if you get what I'm saying, yes,
I do.
this end, yes, this is how it is. Then the other side of it, this is how it goes too.
You're
Yes.
very correct.
Yeah.
At least technology is what has made laymen like us to become broadcasters also.
You see now, talking about the ones of today is a training.
It's so true. It's so true.
They don't train their staff. They could be a lot better. They could do a lot better than they're doing now, but they are not trained. They're not. I'm a training consultant. For 6, 7, 8 months now, nobody is calling me up. I send my feelers. I send my, what do you call it? Application to train people. They just throw it under the carpet. They are not interested. Trainee. They are not. They will rather recruit fresh graduates who they will use over time. In fact, those ones don't have the patience. They jump out of the place and then they go and bring some other people, thinking that the little training they have in school, let's exploit it, but to put more into their brain, into their life.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying?
Thank you.
These are the things wrong with the system. We're trying to work at this. I'm using my time to get certain things done. We are trying to fix a professional body that will take a deep look at this. we're even trying to also look at the angle of the law, because what we find is that there's no codified set of rules that has the force of the National Assembly in form of legislation, to streamline some of these activities within the industry. We are working very, very hard at that, I can assure you. And in no time at all, we're going to come up with something that will change the face of broadcasting in Nigeria.
Wow. Wow. Uncle, I want to thank you so very much for creating the time to feature on True It All this week. I've always longed to get your full story, and at least I thank God I was able to get it here, and I know it must be the same for a lot of other people that have always heard about Segun Aderiye, but knowing the story behind what we became, what we are now, and who you became now, it's always very, 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 important. It helps other lives to know how to move on. So, Uncle, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you for the good work you're still doing now. I know you're still forging on. Age is not a barrier to you, and I really appreciate that in your life. And of course, I know you're also a journalist. Thank you for the book, the gift of the book that I got from you. I really appreciate it. So the Lord will always be your strength in the name of the Lord Jesus. So thank you very much, Uncle. Thank you.
I want
So
to thank you very much for this opportunity.
I really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. I appreciate it, Uncle. Well done. So viewers
Bye-bye.
at home, thank you for um, staying with us all this while. I hope you have learned one or two things. All the young people trying to be journalists, you would need to um, listen to this and maybe sit down one day. We may put a course together, and then we invite Dr. Segun Aderiye to really come put you through and let you be the type of well-groomed journalist or broadcaster that you can be in life. All right. So thank you for joining us this week. Once again, welcome to the new month of September. This month will be a month of mercy in your life in the name of the Lord Jesus. Next Thursday, we're bringing another guest to Through It All. And till then, until I come your way next week, please stay blessed, stay strong in the Lord, keep trusting Him. Know that there is no challenge that the Lord cannot take out of the way. So thank you very much and have a good evening. Bye.